Welcome to Laptop Bible Studies with Pastor Bill Brown, brought to you by Carmichael Baptist Church. In this study, we'll look briefly at effectual fervent prayer. Effectual fervent prayer from James 5:16, where we read, "Confess your faults one to another, and pray one for another, that ye may be healed. The effectual, fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much." We'll be focusing on four words: effectual, fervent, righteous, and availeth, to try and help us understand a little bit more about the meaning of effectual, fervent prayer. Our first will be to focus on effectual. In studying this verse, both from the English and the Greek, we learned that effectual actually doesn't stand alone. Our English words, effectual and fervent, are based on one Greek word. So to help us gain a better understanding, we'll just look at both the English and the Greek and see what kind of a word picture that James, the apostle, is drawing for us. When you look at the English words that were used at that particular time of the King James, they mean to produce an effect or a boiling or a bubbling of passion. So there is a passionate or a passion that produces an effect, a passion of prayer. You see the same thing from the Greek. When you look at the word, it's the word energio, and that means to be operative or active. And so the translators were trying to enhance the word by giving us two words so that we could gain a better understanding. This operative, this active passion that's in us gives rise to prayer, and that sort of prayer of a righteous man availeth much. We're okay there for a little bit. Our difficulty comes in this concept of righteous, the effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man. That righteous man who is just, upright, who's fair and blameless. I mean, that's not us. We've done something wrong today. That whole concept really bothers us a little bit, and so we won't come boldly before the throne of grace. We won't stand with a boldness, understanding that we have a right that's been bought by us by Jesus Christ. No, we think we have to earn it. In fact, we don't earn this righteousness at all. It is being just, it is being upright, it is being blameless. But that only comes to us through Jesus Christ. Look at Romans 5:19. For as by one man's disobedience, that was Adam, many were made sinners, so by the obedience of one, that's Jesus Christ, shall many be made righteous. Our righteousness comes through Jesus Christ. That imputed righteousness, that righteousness that comes to us by faith. That means then that the ground of our being constituted righteous is the work of Jesus Christ. The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. The idea of availeth much means that he prevails, he has strength, he keeps on going. The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man does much. There is an abundance. That faith, that working faith that James has been talking all along about, is not dead. It creates a passion of prayer that rises up in the righteous man, the man who has been made by righteous by Jesus Christ, and that prayer avails much. It does much. And what does he give us? An example. Elijah, he makes sure we know that Elijah was a man of like passions and also of like faith. He was weak, he was frail, he had problems just like we do, but he was also a man of faith, a man who believed like we believed. And you can even see that in his prayer. Look at three different things about his prayer that we want to point out. that it was an industrious, meaning very busy. He aimed up high in his prayer, an industrious supplication. What did he do? He asked God that it might not rain. He asked God that it might change the heart of a king and change the heart of a nation. He had an industrious supplication that it might not rain. Included in that, then, he was praying for an interruption of natural order. He wanted all of the normal clouds and the seasons to bypass. No more rain. He wanted an interruption of natural order, and that's exactly what God did. He answered that prayer, the effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man, not just once year, but 3 years. Then we see it was for an insightful, focused prayer. Again, I mentioned this was to turn the heart of the nation of Israel, to turn the heart of the king. Remember that God had told Israel, if you live like this, I'm going to bless you with the first and the latter rains. But if you disobey, I'm going to withdraw the latter rains. I'm not going to bless you with the rains that will bring the harvest. That was a sign to Israel that they needed to change. But there's another prophet of God that we can look at to learn from. James doesn't talk about it, but I want to just mention him a little bit. Hezekiah, King Hezekiah, king of Israel. I think I just called him a prophet, but he's a king of Israel. And when there was a threat brought against him, man, you see, he was troubled. He was weakened because he had to take this to the Lord. In 2 Kings 19 and 14, you see this man is troubled and weak. He's frail because here's an enemy that has come against him. Well, he doesn't know what to do. And it came to pass when King Hezekiah heard it, that he rent his clothes and covered himself with sackcloth and went into the house of the Lord. For in 2 Kings 18, you see that there were threats made against Israel, and a letter was sent to him. It there before him, and it said, it may be the Lord thy God will hear these words of Rabshakeh, whom the king of Assyria and his master has sent to reproach the living God in this letter, and will reprove the words which the Lord thy God hath heard. Wherefore, Hezekiah, lift up thy prayer for the remnant that is left. Pray for Israel, for those that God may move upon them and grant them revival. The effectual, fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. The Lord had told him through the prophet of God to pray for all of Israel. Kings 19 and 14, and Hezekiah received the letter of the hand of the messengers and read it. And Hezekiah went up into the house of the Lord and spread it before the Lord. Here, Lord, look at these threats. What do we do, Lord? And we see how then Isaiah, the son of Amos, sent to Hezekiah, saying, thus saith the Lord God of Israel, that which thou hast prayed to me against Sennacherib, king of Assyria, I have heard. I've heard you, Hezekiah. And to the enemy of Israel, God said through the prophet Isaiah, because thy rage against me and thy tumult is come up into mine ears, therefore will I put my hook in thy nose and my bridle in thy lips, and I will turn thee back by the way which thou camest. What a dramatic effect that you get a picture of. What will God do to this enemy of Israel who is so arrogant and proud that thinks that no one can stop them? But I said that these fervent, effectual prayers of a righteous man availeth much. While this avails much, let me show you how much more it avails. In 2 Chronicles 30 and verse 20, and the Lord hearkened to Hezekiah and healed the people. Not only did he turn away the enemy from attacking, not only did he turn away the superior power of an enemy, but he healed the people of God. He changed their hearts in a day. Look at how wonderful it is. Thanks for being with us on our study of the effectual fervent prayer. This has been Pastor Bill Brown with Carmichael Baptist Church on another laptop Bible study. Lord bless.